I was like, man, I remember having good vibes at this movie, and I still do enjoy the movie. But I'm like, I remember laughing at that in theaters, and now I'm just watching it.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Hello. Tonight, we cancel the apocalypse.
What did it do?
We're not allowed to say. I'm not getting canceled.
Oh, you're not gonna accidentally say it out loud so it can be clipped incorrectly. Gotcha.
Yeah. I have enough things that I know people could clip incorrectly of me saying. In fact, a lot of them are cold opens to the show.
Yes, who would have thought? Sorry, I see a bug on my wall. Let me mute my mic and you can let people know what we watched, in case they didn't already get it from the clip.
Yes. So, we watched a little movie called Pacific Rim today, which, oh my goodness, when did this come out? 2013?
Yeah.
This is when I graduated college, and I was very excited to watch this movie. I still am very excited to watch this movie. I do like it. I will say, I'll save it for later.
Okay. I mean, I'll just say, I kind of went into this knowing it wasn't a movie for me, only because I remember watching in theaters one of the Godzillas that was made by a Western director that had the girl from Stranger Things. And I was like, okay. Too much talk about people, not enough monsters. So, like, I went into this hoping it'd be more kaiju and robots. And then there were some bits in the middle that I was just like, I don't think I like these people.
Yeah, they're not meant to be liked. And then
it feels like they're trying to make you like them.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Other ones are no. And I remember watching this movie in theaters, so there's parts, like, I don't think I've watched it since then in theater. I think maybe I watched it one other time. But then, like, there's parts in that I'm like, watching it in theaters almost, 12 years ago, and then watching it now, and I'm like, this was a movie meant for theaters, like, for some of the things in there. But I think last episode I did say, oh yeah, this was what introduced me to Charlie Day. I also forgot to mention this is what introduced me to Idris Elba. So.
Yeah, I was wondering, is this this role what got him typecast later, or is this just part of his typecasting? Because he does really well in that role, and I feel like I keep seeing him in that role.
Well, I guess a similar role that's in there that he's for the BBC. It's called Luther, and I tell a lot of people. I shouldn't say I tell everybody, but I'm like, I think this is. I shouldn't say best, but I'm like, I think this was for like a cop show. Like, it's pretty much Luther. It's Idris Elba being angry Sherlock.
Okay. And
that's not like the whole thing in there, because like I feel like the new, what's this? The guy who was the dragon, Benedict Cumberbatch. His Sherlock almost felt that he just didn't know how to communicate with common people. Like, he was just so smart.
Yeah.
And smart in his own kind of like minds and processes, and that's when they needed Watson, who I'm blanking on his name, but he was Bilbo, to...
Bilbo, the movie adaptation?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm blanking on his name. He's also in a couple Marvel things as well. That pretty much it feels like that Sherlock is like, I need help to communicate to the common man sometimes. And this is me, like, haven't watched the show in a while. But it's like Luther, it's I don't think it's so much like I'm here to play mind games with super intelligent people. It's like there's this like one criminal that's very intelligent, but he's just like, okay, there's intelligent people that we're doing. I'm also very intelligent. But I am not above cutting deals with criminals to get this worse person. And so I think it was, from what I can remember, it was a pretty neat show. But you can almost see, I guess, hints of some of some of the characters that he plays later, like in whoever he was in this movie. I'm forgetting. Pentecost, yeah. And the gatekeeper for Thor. I'm blanking on his name. Heimer.
Okay, but I see. Luther was from 2010 to 2019. So the series ran while this movie was also coming out. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a fun watch from what I can remember, but I will also give the caveat that I also haven't watched it in close to 10 years. So I feel like I need to say it for anything that I watched 10 years ago, because I was a different me back then. So
Look,
do a little research.
We had to watch Twizzler Suits, and ever since then you've been like, but don't take my word for it.
Yep. But still, just think of the Twizzler suit added so much to our own kind of making fun of other movies.
It made it a very easy bracket that week.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so we did Pacific Rim. Yeah, it was. I think while watching this, I feel like this movie was made to watch in theaters rather than some of the other ones, because it's like on my TV, which I've joked around on stream, and I think I mentioned it on here as well. Recently found out it doesn't go above 720p. It's a lot different than seeing it on the giant screen and like hearing all the different noises, like back when they knew how to actually balance sound in theaters.
But you don't like when they just crank it to 12, so you hear people breathing and then monsters screaming in the same frame.
It depends. No, I've been hearing a lot of people where it's just like with different movies. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I also know that people that made these comments are people who are big into movies. So they're not balanced correctly, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't go to the movies all too often anymore. The last movie I saw in theaters was Romulus.
Yeah, we did watch through all of Alien, and I was like, okay, we finally got a good Alien movie.
Mm-hmm. It was the first one.
Well, Romulus is still good.
Oh yeah. No, I was just. I know some people aren't super happy with Romulus. Where I think the what was it? There was one of the complaint. I know there's two, and I'm forgetting one of them. But the big one, which is like, why did they deep fake Bishop's face? Like, why couldn't it just been any other robot? Like, why did it have to be that model? And just like, why couldn't they just leave him alone? Pretty much. And I'm like, and they're like, yeah, it was so bad. I'm like, I don't know, guys. I honestly don't remember what he looked like back then.
Well, also, with the time frame that the movie it makes sense to reuse a robot model between.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, it's like it makes sense. Like, I understand. Like, I guess I understand why they did that and with the timeline and everything, but other people are like, why did they do this?
Look, I know they just wanted to see David and David kiss.
I just got a message to saying I'm good on the 26th, and I'm like, what's happening on the 26th?
For anybody listening, this is releasing in August. We're not talking about August 26th.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I realize who this is now. I was like, who is this? And I'm like, oh, this is Charity Palooza, which is happening next week. So I'm just like, what is going on? But yeah, I'll answer that when we're done this. So it was someone that I forgot that I asked to play if he was interested, and it's all good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if you're listening to this as an audio listener,
it's already done.
Yeah, Charity Palooza has been done. I guess by the next episode that comes out,
yes.
you'll
Next
find out
episode, yeah.
if we have any unlocks for Pointless Discourse specifically.
Mm-hmm.
You have one goal planned, right, relating
yes.
to us. So exciting to see.
You know what? If we time it out right, we could do that for what we switched the last episode of the year for. And so that way we can have the books and the movies all together.
Do a double parter.
Yeah. But that's post Charity Palooza talk. Yeah, it's but yeah, I remember seeing stuff for this movie, and that line I said at the beginning, tonight we cancel the apocalypse, is what, like, the tag, this was what, like, the movie was based off of, was that line.
That's the poster quote.
It was I think before, because, like, I don't think they really, I can't remember, they probably used the term viral, but I felt like that was, like, the thing that went around everywhere, and so many people were making fun of it, and they're just like, oh, we're gonna cancel the apocalypse, blah blah blah, and they're just like, but at the same time they're just like, I want to watch the giant robot movie, because at the time, trying to think, at 2013, when did the Godzilla movie, the remake, or when America did a,
yeah, let me see if I can find it. Because it could be around that time. Because I forget when Stranger Things had come out, but -1 is not what we're talking about. -1 is good.
-1, yeah.
Is it King of the Monsters?
No, that's...
Or is that the second one in that?
I think that's the second one. Godzilla...
Because it does have Millie Bobby Brown in King of the Monsters.
I think that might be the second... I'm blanking. Every Godzilla movie in order on IMDb. Time for me to get blinded. Scroll down to the bottom. Okay.
No, I think that's the one.
I think that yeah, that is one. I didn't remember the tagline.
Yeah, because
it's got the drug man in it.
Yeah, because it says Millie Bobby Brown was also in Godzilla vs. Kong, and that was 21.
I was like, she was, and I realized I didn't watch that movie either. So, is this? Let's see. This is gonna bother me now. I know some people are like, it's not that important. It's like, it is to me. Shut up. No, Godzilla. This is the one. Godzilla. It's just called Godzilla.
2014.
2014. Also made by Legendary. So Legendary was on some kaiju zombie fighting stuff, and this one, I remember this one was like, because before the 2014 Godzilla movie, the only Godzilla movie that came out before then was the Abomination of 1999 or 2001. It was somewhere around there, to where it's funny because let's see if I can find it. 1998. Sorry, I had the wrong year. I was close, but yeah, where Japan, they put out another Godzilla movie. I think it was either Godzilla 2000 or another Godzilla movie where they're like, hey, the Americans said that they had a Godzilla attack New York, and they just like they say that. And they're like, they didn't accept that, but 2014 Godzilla, it was like a lot of people were like, oh, this is a good Godzilla. Like, America finally I shouldn't say finally, but they did right by Godzilla, because he's a beefy boy in that movie.
Okay, yeah, I didn't watch the 2014 one. I only watched, I forget why. I must have just been invited to the movies for the 2019 one.
Yeah, it's but no, I remember it being good, because a lot of the old Godzilla movies, because I think a lot of people focus on kaiju destroying everything. And I think Minus Zero and Godzilla 2014, at least from American audiences, I think is a good show of what the kaiju, like, at least from what I've seen. I know I haven't seen all of everything, but where it's a lot more of, here's these humans that can't do anything, and they just have to ride out this wave of destruction, and embodied in this. They don't have Jaegers like that we do in Pacific Rim, but in this, they try to do some things to stop Godzilla and stuff, and then later it's like, here's more monsters. So, but I think the 2014 Godzilla is a pretty good, from what I remember, a pretty good Godzilla film. So much that I think I bought it twice because I didn't realize I owned it. I was like, oh, it's on sale, and I brought it home and about to put it on my shelf, and I'm like,
That looks familiar.
it's right there. When did I buy this? So, yeah, and then it's interesting. I mean, we're not going to talk about Godzilla too much longer because he's not in this movie. Yeah, it's interesting to see how we have the different Godzilla paths, like kind of now, because America kind of has more of that, like kaiju big monster battle going on, and it's very cinematic, very action based. Where like it was fun. I think it's like Godzilla and Kong versus some hibbity doobities. I don't remember their names, but like it's fun because it's like they find out it's like, oh, there's a whole other world like underneath the crust of the blah blahs, and it's like, okay, King Kong goes down there and he's just like, yeah, going around, and oh my goodness, there's problems. And then it's like, wait a second, Godzilla's moving. Why is Godzilla moving? And it's like this whole movie, like I remember the trailers that made it look like King Kong and Godzilla were going to like team up for most of this movie. No, King Kong just gets beat up multiple. Kong gets beat up multiple times, and Godzilla just goes and just kills multiple monsters and just powers up for like 2/3 of the movie, and then because they're like, he knows something's coming, he's just getting ready. And so what they decide to do is like, Kong's like, I'm gonna go trick Godzilla to come down here so he can go fight them, and somehow it works. And then they come to Earth and blow stuff up as well. But yeah, that feels like the American stuff where it's just like big, ginormous, goofy monster battles that are just fun. Mm-hmm. And then like with Minus Zero, it is like, I feel like what did the first Godzilla come in the 50s or 60s? I can't remember, but like what it like puts the horror back into Godzilla, where it's this unstoppable force that's just coming, and it's like, no, there's so much focus on the lives and everything around it where you like, I feel attached to these people. Oh no Godzilla.
Yeah, I think it's the 50s because I believe Godzilla historically, I think we talked about it in a different episode, is like a reactionary to like surviving, like,
yes,
the world wars, and their way of dealing with the feeling of, well, tomorrow we could wake up and just mm-hmm. have some big entity just lure,
yes,
something we can't handle.
Yeah, and then I think there's another Godzilla film or TV show funny enough, we were talking about this earlier on Apple TV. I forget what it's called, but it's very much like it's not focused on the kaijus at all. Like they're in there, and I think they show up, but it's much more focused on like the scientists that are just like, how are we going to defend ourselves against this? And I think that one's a lot more science based than the other two.
Yeah, I think I see what you're talking about. Monarch: Legacy of Monsters.
Yes, yeah, that one. I've heard good things about it, but as we mentioned before, I'm not gonna put out money for. I didn't realize my phone wasn't muted. I'm not gonna put out money for another subscription that I'm not gonna use. So, Apple, if you want us to talk about your TV shows, sponsor us. Anyway, but yeah, Pacific Rim. Shall we roll some dice, or was there anything you wanted to mention?
No, I'm not as into the kaiju stuff, so I felt like I didn't have much more to add other than just I liked -0.
Yes, I like monsters and giant robots, and this put it together, and me in my early 20s was like, this is the best thing ever.
All right, so if anyone is newer here, we are rolling some dice because we are tabletop nerds. I would try and plug Charity Palooza for you, but it has gone and passed. But
it snuck up, and it's still very much in my mind, but it's past us by the point
that this comes out.
Yes.
But yeah, so Payne does have various content on his channels of him playing tabletop games. So we have 12-sided dice because we are watching throughout this year 12 different directors, one for each month. This month is Guillermo Del Toro, and whoever rolls highest gets to give a short summary of the movie. So how did you do, Payne?
Well, I'm number one.
He was number one. I rolled an 8. So
yeah. Have fun. I'm going to go find the questions in the Discord.
Yes, so then after I give a summary, Payne will ask me some questions, and there will be no spoilers as we kind of chat about the movie. And then we will warn you as we go into Spoiler Town so that you can turn back if you want to watch big punchies for yourself.
Oh, next week we'll see if my prediction was correct.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. Summary of Pacific Rim. As Payne said, we got to cancel the apocalypse. Basically, what we have is we are introduced to a military program where they make Jaegers, and Jaegers are defined in the beginning of the movie as hunters in German, who are fighting kaiju, which is defined as giant monster in Japanese. And you learn that there has been some sort of rift that's opened up in the Pacific, i.e. the name of the movie, and it has become some kind of portal where kaiju are climbing through, and the world's answer has turned all of its war efforts into making Jaegers, which are piloted by 2 people, and they beat up monsters.
Monstars.
Is there anything else? I mean, it's a straightforward movie.
And they do a mental handshake, which is where most of the plot of this movie comes from. Yeah, sounds good to me. We'll probably get into a lot of the stuff afterwards. Mm-hmm. So, if this was the only movie you watched of Del Toro, would you watch the rest of their catalog?
No. Like I said.
Understandable.
Yeah, like, it's just that thing, like, I know people like action movies. I'm not people. I am I am anomaly. No, it's just I think it's an action movie to its core, and I could tell that they wanted there to be some like character interaction stuff, but I don't know if it was who they chose as the leads, but I had trouble.
She's the most drift compatible.
Like, they've known each other for 2 days, and he's like, why won't you let me hang out with her?
Not even.
Oh, is it a day?
I think it's probably like
24
12 hours. Like,
yeah, and then like Idris Elba is like acting his heart out, and he does very well in the role, but then all he gets back is no. And I'm just like, who is this guy? Like, it feels like they told him you're supposed to be the cool guy, so he's like, okay, so I don't show emotion. It's like, you can be a cool guy and actually have emotion. I don't know.
No. When my brother got ripped out of my brain, he took the emotions with him.
I know, and like they keep repeating this really important plot point, and I'd be like, it's really cool if we investigated that, and he just goes, "You just get over it, right, Mako?" And I'm like, "No, you don't just."
You want to hit me with a stick again?
Like the one part where he's like, he kind of hints at, he might have trauma related to piloting robots because of all of the connected feelings he has with his. Okay, I'm getting to spoiler town. In any case, he claims that he has this trauma, but then Idris Elba's like, "But you're gonna come pilot again, huh?" And I immediately, in my quippy little way, because Strider was watching it with me, I was like, "Only if you want me to have an anxiety attack and lie on the floor and be useless in a suit. Sure, sir. I could totally join you on this mission." Because, like, it's just, I don't know. It's just, I think from going from Pan's Labyrinth to this, where Pan's Labyrinth is, every character is such a strong character, to this, I'm just like, I know that, like, there's other people in the screenplay. There's other people in the screenplay. Like, I'm just reminding myself that, and I went in expecting it to be big monster fights, and I appreciated the big monster fights. And then I was just like, there's a lot of talking.
Yes, there's a lot of lead up to the actual monster fight. And then when you look at it in, like, a realistic view, it's like, there's no way they would have put them in that suit again.
Yeah, like, I understand.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's supposed to be military. It's supposed to be a whole military program, and there's a whole lot of discussion around it. And I'm just like, that's fine, but also, you don't have anybody else. Like, there's so many people. There's so many. Like, I don't know. Like, the final scene started, and I went, wait, if there's only so many pilots, who are all these people in the base?
That's a good. They're mechanics, psychologists. Just they thought they were signing up. They're like, I like robots. Can you drive one? Oh no,
no. Anyway, but you had watched this movie previously, so how about you, Itisdpayne?
So I have watched other movies by this director. I don't think it was because of Pacific Rim, and as I said before, and during this episode, I think I was in the right state of.
The right age,
right age, right thing, seen in theater. Like, this movie, I think, is meant to be watched with a group of people in the theater. I was like, man, I remember having good vibes of this movie, and I still do enjoy the movie, but I'm like, I remember laughing at that in theaters, and now I'm just watching it.
There is some time. I think there's literally one point where something happened, and I turned to Strider. I was like, "Is this supposed to make me like the main character?" And he laughed so loud at that. The part where he's like, "Apologize." I was like,
"Oh yeah."
Am I supposed to stick up for him? Am I supposed to? Is this a character plus? It feels like a character flaw right now. But anyway,
yeah. So I have watched other movies of his, but it wasn't necessary. Because here's a good way to explain it. I remember coming out of Pacific Rim. I was like, that movie is cool. Actually, I think I watched it in theaters twice.
Okay.
I can't remember. But I might have watched it in theaters twice. That's when movie tickets cost less than $9. Mm-hmm. So
it was a good summer activity when you're like, it's too hot to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. I'm not driving to the shore.
Yes. So we went and watched. I know I watched it at least 2 or 3 times. And so we did that, and I was like, man, this is a really fun movie, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's still a fun... The robot parts are fun. But I was like, oh, man, that's cool. And then I remember hearing that there was the second one coming out. And I was like, oh, man, I really like Pacific Rim. I never went and saw the second movie. And I think I said, I don't remember if it was on or off mic for last podcast, but I was like, no, I think it makes sense. Like, you could for where it goes. But then I'm just sitting there, like, watching the end of the movie, and I'm like, they could, but how? Which it's like, because to my understanding, who's someone who hasn't watched Uprising, which is Pacific Rim 2, they're like, well, we don't got monsters to fight, so let's have the Jaegers be giant fighting things. And we can have, that's what we'll do. We'll make it a sport.
Oh, is that what it is?
I think so. I think that's what it was. I could click on the Wikipedia right now and double check.
I can take a look. I have the IMDb.
Yeah.
So it says, son of the main marshal,
Marshall.
reunites with Mako to lead a new generation of Jaeger pilots, including blah blah blah, a 15-year-old against new kaijus.
Oh,
So apparently,
okay.
they're back again, baby.
Okay. I thought I remember seeing something where they were like fighting, like they were in like sports competitions or something.
There's Real Steel.
I know there's that.
Okay.
I don't know. Real Steel's fun.
Yeah, isn't that the boxing robots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, it's Rocky with robots. But anyway, I did not watch Pacific Rim Uprising. I think after watching and comparing this, I do think Del Toro did make this, like not that his name on it means that he didn't, but he's definitely made this movie, but I feel like we don't see the depth of his work that we saw in Pan's Labyrinth and others and coming to his other movies. So, yeah, I don't want to say anything about what we're watching next week because I have watched that and I do remember enjoying that as well, which I think leans more towards Pan's Labyrinth. But I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to say something and be like next week, like, well, let me fix what I said there. But yeah, it's I feel like the stuff that they did in this movie. I'm going to say it for Spoiler Town. Okay, next question. Did you root for characters?
I got to a certain point and I was just like, maybe I'm rooting for the colonizers in this movie.
You don't learn the colonizers at the end.
But no, I don't think I did. How about you?
Like, I remember characters I rooted for when I first watched this. Like,
Okay.
I was like, I root for Charlie Day's character and storyline. And now I'm like,
Why did he do that?
I'm like, I just find his character annoying.
Like, I think he's very funny and he's definitely playing up to his strengths as an actor. But then the choices he makes, I was like, I don't know why you're still doing this. This seems... Okay.
Ron Perlman's character was like, okay.
Very easy to not like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I said I was going to wait until Spoiler Town, but I'm going to say it now. It feels like Pacific Rim has so much jammed into it where I feel like this would have been something paced better and more like kind of how we watch, like kind of how they have like TV shows now, where it's just like, I feel like if it had a little bit more of the build, because as you're saying, it's like, it's so fast where it's just like, whatever, Scarman, I forget his name. Hold on. If I scroll down.
Scarman?
Rayleigh Beck, because he has all the scars from when he's got his brother
Riley.
ripped out. Yeah, Riley. When he's there, it's just like, I feel like that, and then him and Mako is just like, hey, we just said that we're here.
We had one fight together. She is destined to be my co-pilot. And
it's like,
okay.
there's like other things where it's just like hitting each other with a stick and all that. It's just like, it doesn't explain
what connection
why.
There is. Yeah.
Because then it's like at the same time, like Pentecost, which it's like, I feel like Pentecost, if he didn't have like cancer, would have been like, it doesn't matter. I'll just go in and just do it. But he couldn't, but he was just like, where the guy's like, why can't we go in? He's like, I bring nothing. And it's just like, okay. Like, it just like, we don't have time for me to actually sync with you. I figured you out because I'm Idris Elba. But no, I don't really, like this second time watch, I rooted more for the actual Jaegers. And I'm like, I like the big robots, except they're like, look how cool these robots are. They're just cannon fodder.
I know, that's the other thing that annoys me about it, because like they it feels like they're like, we need to have all of these side characters to prove that the main characters are strong, and that's one of my biggest gripes in like anime, especially. So like seeing it played out in this, I was just like, hey, we get to see them. No, we don't.
Yeah, well,
Oh, we get to see them. Oh, we don't.
well, they talk about it and then we don't see it, which is why we'll save our spoilers down. What grade would you give the plot?
Me personally, C minus or D, in that it completed its goal, but there's a lot of things that I felt like, kind of like you said, they go, hey, remember that time? And I'm like, what? So it gets hard to connect with it, because they mention, like you said, there's this speech about the apocalypse, and they talk about a clock. I was like, do we ever get to like have constant glimpses at, like, it would have added tension if they had constantly shown it on screen and things like that, but instead they just go and say like they say a lot of things. But they say so many things back to back that I'm like, wait, what am I supposed to hold on to? What's the high tension? Is it his health? Is it the end of the world? Is it the characters? Is it the trauma? Like, there's... It could have used, like, a fine-tooth comb, and, like, a long series could have worked. Or even just cutting out...
theory. Yeah,
cutting out some of the characters would have also helped. Because at one point, I feel like they were like, this is the moment where all the audience is going to cry. And I was like, you've never made me like these people. I'm sure you can guess which scene that is.
I'm not guessing, no. We'll say that for Spoiler Town, unless you really want me to.
No, it's fine. But it's just
it the very end?
No.
I can't breathe.
I rolled my eyes.
Yep.
There's another point that I started to predict some of the dialogue, and I was like, oh no, I'm predicting the dialogue. No, it's the scene with the father-son, and like I feel like they wanted me to feel bad, and I was like, the son has been one of the most unlikable people in this movie so far.
It's like, blow him up multiple times.
So yeah, for me, I think I lean towards a D, because like you said, there's so much happening and there's not a lot of... I don't know if it's that it's hand holding the audience, just to like, almost in a way that's like, all right, you're holding onto my hand, we're going to sprint to the next action scene. There's a lot of information in between, just hold on. We're going to give you all the information, and then we go to the fight scene. Whereas like, I kind of wish it was just like, maybe less characters and maybe less lore, and then just do a lot of fighting. I don't know. That's just me. How about you? What grade?
I think I would also give it like a C to maybe like C plus, like, and like, because I just like giant robots. But yeah, it was... I don't know. It was just... It was there. Like, I enjoyed watching it, but at the same time, I'm just like, okay, it's like I'm gonna wait until we get to Spoiler Town, where I'm like, you know what? I think I have an idea that which would work, I think, better for where people watch stuff now, but back then, like, they didn't do TV and like streaming the same way. So I just realized I saw when next week's movie comes out, and it's the next one right after Pacific Rim, and I'm like, I think I did watch that movie because I liked Pacific Rim.
But were they that close in release?
Yeah, it's his next one.
That's funny.
Because I was wondering, like, what came out between Pan's Labyrinth and Pacific Rim? And it's Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, which is the better Hellboy movie. It would have been nice if he got some of... I don't know. That's the other thing, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. But anyway, that's where I would give the plot. Where I think now, Like everything just felt so, like as Hop was saying, like boom, 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 and it's like I think this movie is a fun movie to watch, but I think it's not. I shouldn't say I think it's probably on the lower end of like dialogue and like writing style, because it's, I feel like going from Pan's Labyrinth to Pacific Rim is like oh, because it's just like
They're not
like,
in the same genre by
yeah,
any means. Yeah.
and there's just so much depth in Pan's Labyrinth, and that movie still moves pretty quickly, but it's like just we're able to breathe more. And it feels like with Pacific Rim, it tries to do the two story things where we have Charlie Day's character's kind of storyline that starts up in the middle, and the Raleigh's part, and it's like it feels like it's trying to go that way, but it's so much where they're trying to like be like boom, boom, boom. Like I thought the opening, like the get, here's the information, here's the monologue, and like showing, I was like, I think that was a really like
A good
well
setup.
done.
Yeah.
Good setup, and then it was just like, ooh. but yeah. And then last, would you recommend this movie to others?
I think I still would. It's a very watchable movie, especially like you said, in a group. It's easy enough to watch. And I would probably tell people, oh, they're talking. If you need to use the bathroom, you can. You won't miss. Like, unfortunately, there's not a lot of context. I think that's a problem I have. With the moments that there are dialogue, I don't think it adds to the context of the overall plot of the movie. Because, like, the mission itself is pretty straightforward. The only things that you kind of need are a little bit of the scientist part to understand like how they get to the conclusion of the movie. But overall, like you said, big action,
Little plot.
little plot.
Charlie Day.
Yes. How about you?
Yeah, I think, like, I think if people were like, oh, we're gonna put on Pacific Rim, I would have no problem watching it again. I don't like it's. I think with this movie, like as much if some people are like, oh, they're just griping and hating on a movie, it's like, well, that's kind of when you do a movie review dive into director's work, it's kind of part of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, we were haters last month. We were not a hater last week.
Yes.
We were not haters in June. You find out our taste in movies as we go along.
I'm forgetting. What did we watch in June?
Kurosawa.
Oh, yes. They're all getting blended together.
We have been rushing this month.
Yes,
We've recorded 5 episodes in July alone.
After Kurosawa, we had to jam a lot of things together, just due to scheduling. After August, we might be able to breathe a little bit more, but that's the leaders. But yeah, but no, like if I was going over to a group of people's house and like, oh, we want to put on, what do you think, Pacific Rim? Okay, let's put it on. Like, and yeah, it's like, I'm a sucker for giant robots, and I would love to have more giant robot things. I don't know if I would want to see a live action let me say this again, an American live action of Gundam, but I don't know if you remember Megas XLR on Cartoon Network.
No.
Oh my goodness, that was it started off as like a spoof, and then like everyone liked it, and so they made more, to I remember correctly, and I think it has 2 seasons where pretty much they have these aliens are having this giant battle, they make this giant robot, and then they go to send it away, the prototype, and they shoot it before it goes into the space, like pretty much light speed teleportation, and it ends up in a junkyard. And I think they're from Jersey. These two guys are like,
Yeah, I recognize the characters and the
yeah,
art style. I don't think I watched it. I think I saw it coming up, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm not really into robots," and like would flip.
yeah. I remember me and my brothers watched it, and it was so funny because it was like they literally came like had weapons, and they created and deleted weapons every episode.
I like this still from it. He's just literally like torn in half.
Yeah.
So I sent D-Payne a screenshot from the movie or from the TV series,
show.
and it looks like a kaiju, but the robot has ripped it apart so much you can see the robot behind it.
Yeah. And it's fun because it's like in there they don't. That's what happens. They have a robot head, and it gets shot off, and that's why it crashes on Earth. And the way the two guys find it, and they're just like, "Hey, what's in this pile?" And he's like, "How much does this cost?" He's like, "It's $1. How about this? It's $1. How about this? It's $1." He's like, "How about anything in that pile is $1?" He's like, "Oh," and they pull one thing, and the whole pile crashes, and the robot's there is like, "Here's your $1." And they just buy the whole mech suit for $1, and they replace the head with a hot rod car. So
Yeah, it says Coop modifies Megas and replaces his head, the control center, with a classic muscle car and names him XLR for extra large robot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the original pilot comes and they must defend Earth from the evil alien race called the Glorft.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be a homage and parody at the same time.
Yes, it is. It is, from what I remember, it is one of those things like how people. I made it sound like Invader Zim didn't age well, but I haven't watched it recently. But how people would look back and still be like, Invader Zim was amazing. I feel like that's me with Megas XLR and probably my brothers as well. Because it's
a lot of nostalgia.
Yeah, I remember they had like in the first episode, they're like, "What's this button do?" And it shoots out a laser and like digitizes a house and just deletes it. And they're just like, "Let's not press that again." And that button never comes back. Like that weapon never shows up again. Like there's so many things that just they do that just disappear. Like they create it and it disappears. Like the next episode, like there's no like continuity with what that robot can do. They've like replaced like the energy coil with a a soft served ice cream thing because it's like we don't know what it was here for, and it was hot. And I want ice cream. So we did that. So it's fun. But anyway, we're getting ready to head to Spoiler Town. I talked about robots a lot. And Godzilla.
Yeah. I also yapped too, so don't feel so bad.
But I'm going to start the timer for Spoiler Town.
Choo-choo.
Yep, toot. I almost went to go hit stop recording. I didn't. I was moving my mouse. Like, why is my hand moving my mouse? But yeah, all aboard. Toot toot. Oh yeah, and if you guys don't want spoilers for this movie, this is your last chance to head out.
Next week we're watching Crimson Peak.
Yeah. Ghost House. With other things. I can't remember if Hops watched it or not.
I have not.
Okay, I'm gonna not talk about it. All right, button. The timer has started. Yeah, it was. So I don't know why I waited till Spoiler Town to say this, but the whole movie I'm like, I'm just ready to watch the Monstars fight and the robots. That's all I want to see at this point. I'm tired of all these humans in the way.
Yeah, that's basically the vibe I got. Because I was like, oh, the fight scenes, you could tell, were labors of love, right? Mm-hmm. The details, the action.
I loved how slow everything moved.
But, yeah, I mean, it makes sense for big things. Because you're like, oh, they got to essentially charge their lasers. Mm-hmm. But those, I was like, okay. I went in with an expectation of, like, boom, pow, bang, bang, boom. And then I got... we were destined to work together. I was like, who are you people? Why are we spending so much time? Especially with, like, there was one point that I got so confused for such a silly detail, but again, it's because the way the movie was set up. So I'll just say this. So we have the main character. he goes through a very traumatic event involving the loss of his brother, washes up on the shores of Antarctica, works on a wall, right?
The wall.
With no personal belongings. He was only in his suit when he washed up, right?
Yep.
Idris Elba's character goes, I've been looking for you for years, right? He's in his bunker on the base and has a picture of him and his brother in his personal bunker when he's back on the base.
Yeah.
How?
It shows him when he's talking with Mako in the beginning that he has a huge stack of pictures.
How?
On the base?
Where did he have his pictures? Did they? He didn't have anything with him in Antarctica for 5 years. They couldn't mail him his stuff. How did he have his pictures?
I don't know. I don't remember what was in his bunk.
You see, like,
Yeah.
but it's because they try to set him up as like this tragic icon, and then they just go, "Be sad because he misses his brother." I'm like, wait, how does he have pictures? Because you told me he's been missing for 5 years and nobody knew where he was. I mean, unless Idris Elba was like, here's your stack of pictures that you can have whenever you want. But that also feels weird.
I can't remember. But it's because I think they, because now I'm blanking on if the beginning and if it where Idris and I like how we're calling him Idris and not his character.
Well, his character's name is
Marshall
something
Stacker
Pentecost.
Pentecost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know if those two characters. I can't remember from the beginning when they start talking with each other. 'Cause, like I thought Idris mentioned something like that pretty much, Charlie, but like Riley he was kind of pushed through pretty quickly or something like that because they have Gypsy. And so, like, and they know about that because there's multiple mentions afterwards, like, where Idris, like, you're the only person that piloted. Me and you are the only people that piloted Jaegers alone, which is mentally impossible to do. And so there was that, and it sounds like he was brought back, and I feel like it probably got probably pushed over, or it wasn't. Either they skipped over it or they're like implied where it's just like, hey, you can't pilot with anybody anymore because your brother is still technically in your head. And not. And so there's all that. But yeah, it's...
Yeah, I was just like, how does he have personal belongings if he's been missing for 5... Like, that was just like... My brain was like I think upset with that detail because I was like, they want me to feel bad for him, but I thought he had nothing left because he was working on a wall for 5 years.
Yeah, well, like I think they also, it's like I think it's like a real quick line where he's just like, "You're a hard man to find," and he's just like, "Well,
I've been moving.
I have to move like constantly to get paid now." And then it's just like, "Is the end of the world? You gonna like not have someone in your head?" And it's like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, the line, do you want to die here or in a Jaeger? I was like, well, if the option's to die, I don't know that I want either.
Can I have woman as pilot with me?
Only after.
I know.
I knew it had to be a love interest because of the way that they did the umbrella reveal for her. I was like, okay.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you're here. What? Oh, man, what? I forget what it is. There's a line from a different movie. Oh, it's Zombieland. It's like, oh, look, another woman that is close to marriageable age or something like that. So,
no, but that was just something for me that I was just like, they want heart, like, because everything's so sped up, they want heartfelt moments, and then they try and do it, and I go, that doesn't make sense with how you set up the character.
What I was about to say is I'm ready to see the giant robots fight. I see the two Russian and Chinese Jaegers get destroyed like punks, which was a bummer because they were like, yeah, that's so good. They're so strong. How cool. And then it was like they get instantly destroyed. We see whatever that other robot that I'm blanking on the name, but it's the fastest one and it's got the
newest one. Yeah. Striker or something.
Yeah. Captain Poopy Pants and his son.
Bigger Poopy Pants.
Yeah. But anyway, they're in there and they get EMP'd, which it was like another thing that it's like gets, I feel like, glossed over with the fact it's just like this literally was just so that Gypsy could go out. But I don't understand.
Gypsy, yeah.
I don't understand why Gypsy, like, they did all these upgrades and you're like, oh, but she's analog. And it's like, how do you know? You you looked at the dumb robot for like, and it's like, you mean they upgraded everything in there except that? But
it still has computers in it.
I know. But it's got button computers.
It has touchscreen interfaces and comms. I know, there's one point he goes, hey, helicopters, give me comms. I was like, I thought you were all EMP'd. How is a helicopter going to reach down to you for communications on where this stinking thing is? And Strider was like, it fits in a building, question mark?
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's not what annoyed me or anything. It gets up there. It goes to rip the little EMP zit out of its back. And then my disc, because I'm watching it on physical media, I think either was dirty or has a scratch. And it just like froze. And I'm like, this was the only part I wanted to see. And then it skipped ahead to when they're like in the building. And then it skipped like another part. And I'm like, it's still in my PS4. I haven't looked at it yet. And I was like, no. And I was like, should I just go buy it again? So I was like, nah, it's not that big of a deal. But now I'm like, I hope Crimson Peak doesn't have the same problem, because
that one has a little bit more story, you said, right?
It's got a lot more story. But what I was about to say, though, where I'm like, I think if this was made today and they did it kind of like how the Netflix Prime, where they kind of do like a 8 to 12 episode things, I think what would have been fun to show, because there's this glut of information in there where it's just, I think that's one of the things, the only time you can technically turn your brain off is when the Jaegers are fighting. And every other time, it's like when a human is talking, it's still like dumping information onto you, and there's just so much where it's just like, I don't know what this means, like, because it's like, okay, as we were joking on earlier, hitting each other with a stick, how is that going to show that you're drift compatible? Like, they don't explain it. It's just like,
she's the one.
Yeah. She's the only woman that's talking. She's the
I know,
one.
like the fact that he's like, was it personal? You're like making stinky faces at me like I smell bad. Is it their performance? She goes, no, you're just bad. You could be better. And he goes, shall be bad. I'm like, really?
It's okay. He went to go drive motorcycles later.
Yeah, I his IMDb, he's the Sons of Anarchy guy.
Yep. So, but yeah, it's all that being said, like, you can see, like, there's definitely moments where it's just like, oh, there's definitely love and care given towards, like, the inspirations of the kaiju and the giant robots and all that stuff. But I was like, you know what? I think if they did this today, what would be interesting is take each character and they're the main character for that episode. And
I think I've seen something formatted similar to that. I guess since the Netflix's Witcher did that for a little bit, except that one, it was almost like, because you have Ciri, Geralt, and Yennefer, I think it was like rotating between the three of them as like main. I think Ciri's was later because you needed to have, the build up between the back and forth, and then Ciri started to get her own. I haven't watched the newer Witcher seasons. I only watched, I think, the first two.
I don't know anything about The Witcher. So.
Yeah. But, I mean, it makes sense in that sense because we have, I think, like I was implying earlier, there's so many side characters. And they have that, like, the anime problem almost, where, like you said, the Russians, they're like, we have never lost a fight in 6 years. And then the only time we see them do something is them losing a fight. It's like,
yeah. Well,
how am I supposed to believe you never lost a fight in 6 years? Or how am I supposed to believe, like, you're good at what you do if the first time you do anything? Also, logistically, terrible plan. You know there's 2 kaiju. You send 3 robots. And you go, okay, 1v1. Our best robot, you stay on the shore, but don't get involved in the fights. It's like, that does not seem like a good matchup if you know the kaiju are getting stronger each time they're coming up.
Yeah. But, like, it might... So, let's see, if they were going to do 8 episodes, I think the first episode should be done from the brother that gets ripped out of the Jaeger.
Okay.
And so, like, that, because I feel like that sets the tone. It tells us who the Jaegers are. It shows how cool the Jaegers and everything in there. But then also, like, it ends with him getting ripped out. And, like, it shows how dangerous this actually is. So it's like, I think that first episode of, like, let's go save the boat, give a little bit more depth, introduce Raleigh, introduce Pentecost and everything. Cool. And then you can do, like, the time jump, and you're either the father's son, choose one of them. Probably the father, because, like, he was from the older generation and he's got his younger son there. And it's like, hey, we're seeing all this stuff, and it can introduce the plan of, like, we're gonna, and, like, kind of mention, like, okay, we're losing this government funding, because he is there when Pentecost has all the people to, like, no more, we're building a wall. And so they do all that, and then we can, like, introduce that, and that's when you can introduce Mako and, like, talk about, hey, we fixed Gypsy, and we're trying to find, and they can mention they found Raleigh, whatever his name is. So that would be, like, episode 2. Maybe episode 3 could be kind of like that comm man, the guy who's, like, constantly in the comms, and, like, I forget his name.
I think Choi.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen him in other things.
Tendo Choi is the name they have for him.
Yeah. So, like, but, like, kind of in that way, from there, because he's more of the science and communications, it could introduce Charlie Day and that other scientist, Gottlieb.
Gottlieb.
Yeah. They introduce those two guys, bring in their 2 different things, and then it can also introduce, like, here's the plan that we have and why we need this, why we need Gypsy and why it's so important. And then from there, you can bring, so that would be 3, 4 could be, I got to bring up the character list again because I'm blanking. Bring in Raleigh from there, and that's where it can explain how the drift, how important that is, why Mako's so important, like why Mako is drift compatible, and what does that actually mean? What does hitting each other's with sticks, maybe other, they, like, kind of ease into it. And then from there, we can either go into Charlie Day's character and his whole thing with drifting with, like, and explain more of the, what are they called? The Jaegers? No, the Jaegers, the kaiju. So that'd be 5. And then that's when you introduce Michael Perlman's character. And so from there, we can go back to Mako and then explain, I guess, more of, like, the like trauma, like, before, like, that Pentecost has, what she has, and, like, that's when you can introduce, like, the more into that history of the what's it called, the when they drift and they break apart, and, like, what does that look like for the other person, like, because we see it, but it's just like Riley's just like, I'm here, hey, wake up, and it's just like I feel like we don't really get a good glimpse of what that looks like for the other person to be stuck in the other person's nightmare brain realm.
Yeah, we just get the, like, flashes of, like, the mix of their memories.
Mm-hmm.
And the only time we get what it could be like is, yeah, when we're looking at the young version of Mako.
Yeah. And I feel like that would be a good point, and, like, also would give hints of why Pentecost is who he is. And then it's like, and, like, during this parts, like, we still, I think we would have more Jaeger and kaiju fights to show, like, how good these other people are. So that way, when we get to, like, the end, like, when we, or, like, the last couple episodes where it's just like, okay, we get to Hannibal Chow, Ron Perlman's character, like, he could be, like, the third or probably the third to last episode where he's talking about that, like, gaining the stuff, and like what do all these parts actually do, and like how do we actually harvest these things so that way they can get the brain and everything. And then the last episode, I don't know if they would put another one, but I feel like the last one would have to be Pentecost. And like with there, it's like the full closing where it's just like it talks about his plan and everything, and it would also bring in like how he's part of, like now he's in the Jaeger, and like what actually is happening except for radiation poisoning. And I don't know, I feel like you can still take that movie and expand it and explain some of these things, but it's at the same time that's not the purpose of this movie. This movie is like no thought, just punch robots and all that jazz. So
no, but it could add a lot more depth. I agree with the way that that's set up, to because it's just so many, like you said, onslaughts of information. And I think as a viewer, for me, with how much information they're giving you, it gets to the point where I'm just like, everything you told me in like the first half of the movie hasn't come back up again, so it's hard for me to like want to hold on to it, because a lot of the climactic parts of the movie are the fight. And like, yeah, it's important to have background and understand the characters, but then when you get to the fight, you don't need to know all of that about the characters. And then you go back and they're like, remember the thing we said earlier? I'm like, but what if I just want you guys to fight? So, but yeah, giving it more space to breathe would be helpful, because then you're like, oh, there can be important story beats that aren't just the fight. But if you kind of balance it a little bit better over a longer term series, it could help a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it was just, as mentioned before, that's not how they did movies or TV shows at that time.
No, not really. Like a lot of series in that time, I remember, were just as long running. How can you have more and more viewers? Like, how do you just keep people on TV rather than being story focused?
There's a lot of procedurals. So, what are you about to say?
I was gonna say that, I don't know, like, I think I mentioned it. I said I would bring it up in Spoiler Town, that kind of goes along with what you're saying. So they clearly have a point where they have the characters tearing up, and I think they want the audience to also feel sad, but I didn't feel connected to the characters, so maybe in the longer form, like you said, it could help. But basically, for anyone who, like, you have seen the movie and it's been a while, it's between the father and the son dynamic, where you have the son who has been nothing but terribly mean on screen, right? He's like, you're not good enough, you're a deserter, you don't deserve my respect, I don't respect you. Or being patronizing to Mako when she has like a hard time dealing with being in the mech. Also, I apologized to her. I was like, ew, this is weird. But, and then they go to the end, and then the dad's like, I may never see you again, son. And they start tearing up, and I was just like,
good.
I was like, you're going to make me try and feel bad about these characters? Like, you haven't given us, like, a reason to really, like, Herc is fine. Herc has tried to be kind of like a father figure to Rally throughout the movie, where he's like, sorry about my son, or like, good to have you back, or I remember when I heard about your days, you were a badass. So like, he's nice, but his son is like, he's not the one that was put in danger for the ending sequence of the movie. Because his arm got ouchied.
Yeah.
Also,
he was supposed to.
But it was also kind of wild for us to watch a flare gun annoy a monster when in the beginning scenes they had missiles shooting at it, and missiles from planes didn't work.
But it didn't hit his eye.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
They got hit in the eyeball, and that.
Also, what was the goal?
I don't know.
At first, I was like, are they shooting the flare guns to like call a helicopter in to like do something to distract it? But no.
I was wondering what the purpose of that was as well. It's just like, haha, take that.
I tickled you. Haha.
I do find it funny how, like, Pentecost, both times his robots get hurt, he's just like, it's for the same reason. Stay near the coast. Don't go in. And there's like, but they need help. Hold the line, but they need us. Bye. And it's just, it makes me wonder. Would it have worked out if they listened to Pentecost, or would it
have been 2v1? So like, I don't know.
Still would have been, well, they didn't even get to do the 2v1. They got 1v EMP'd.
Yeah, And then
Which was all just to show how cool Gypsy Danger, whatever its name was. It was Gypsy Danger.
yeah, but I think it's also funny that they do this whole build up between Ron Perlman and Charlie Day, like right after that scene about like Ron Perlman's like, you're connected to the Hive network, they're gonna come for you, they know exactly who you are, and they have Charlie Day in the bunker, and it takes a
Yes.
really long time for this monster who can walk through walls to get into a bunker, and he's just awkwardly like, I want this little guy, give me the little guy, give me him, I want him so bad. And it takes long enough for Gypsy to show up, and then Charlie Day's character to go, I must go further. It's like, they clearly are chasing you down. Why are we going any further than this? And then him going, I survived the attack, so I deserve the brain. It's like, you didn't survive the attack. You got lucky.
You wanted to talk something else that bringing that up that I feel like is something that's glossed over. Ron Perlman's character yells at Charlie Day. He's like, "You idiot! You actually linked with that." And he's just like looks at the eye, and then he like takes off his sunglasses,
And he has the same.
the same thing, which implies he drifted with a kaiju before, and it's so like he's like, no, you got to get out of here, you're in trouble, like they're coming for you. And then so I guess a question would be, is this whole thing happening because they're coming after Ron Perlman's character and they know he's still there? And it's like they probably have been like, this ain't worth it, but it's like, no, he knows secrets. Because the movie, they don't succeed until they eat him.
I know. That was the one time I did laugh.
Yes,
I didn't laugh out loud. I did the thing I said, no, that was funny. Like, I was like...
Yeah, that whole scene, like, I remember the theater cracking up at that, like, everyone laughing. Which I'm like, I'm not scrolling through the end of these credits. But I don't know if you saw in the Wikipedia, but apparently he cuts himself at the end of the movie. He cuts himself out at the end of the movie. He's like, where's my shoe? And it's just like, I remember going like, ah! But
like an after credits thing.
Yeah.
I didn't watch till after credits on the DVD I have.
I'm like, I couldn't remember if it was good or not. And
yeah, I just, I don't know, like, it would have been interesting to play more into Ron Perlman's character, because, like, having this, like, magnate who has kind of been able to forge an industry over kaiju is an interesting thing. Like, like, it makes for a good, like, opposing force that you're like, it's a necessary evil. But they don't play into it in the movie. They just go, oh yeah, he's, like, kind of on the black market, and then Charlie Day is just like, rah! And I'm like, okay. There's just I think this movie in a way paints a really cool concept, but then on one hand I appreciate that it commits to the bit in terms of like the big mech battles and the big like kaiju battles.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it comes to building up the world around the big monster battles, it could have used a little bit more editing. Like, I really conceptually like the idea of, like, kaiju being connected. I like the idea that they are smart and they're not just here, like, for no reason at all. And I like the slow discovery of, like, Charlie Day being like, it's weird that their DNA is the same from 2006 to 2020. Fictional 2020. But, like, all of that could have been really cool to build off of. But then, like you said, it just starts to, like, do a whole lot of stuff on the side that you're like, yeah. It's a lot to squeeze into, 2 hours? A little over 2 hours?
Yeah. I think it was like 2.5 or 2.
I think it's 130 minutes. So yeah,
it's
210.
I'm looking at the critical response in the Wikipedia. And it's like, generally on Rotten Tomato, the film had a 72% approval rating. And all this stuff. Cinema Score gave it a A-. let's see, the Daily Telegraph's Robbie Collin, who I don't know who that is, gave the film a 5 out of 5, likening the experience to watching it to rediscover a favorite childhood cartoon. And yeah, I'm pretty, goes on far. There's a bunch of like positive reviews here, and then there's like the Guardian's Andrew Pulver was less enthusiastic, calling the film a mix of a wafer thin psychodrama and a plot generator dialogue. And I'm like, is it bad that I'm both responses?
And that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I see on the wiki, like, like, people praise it because of the themes of, like, oh, when there is a greater threat, even, you know, people that are, like, basically powerless against a giant monster can find a way to come together and, like, deal with it. And it's like, yes, that is true. That is a really good theme. There's just, I don't know. That could have been focused on better. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of interesting things that could be done. And it's almost like they gloss over a lot of it. Yeah. I mean, it's fun. It's a fun movie. I can't deny that it's fun.
Oh, yeah. I want to see, like, the side where it's, like, the people, because they say, like, oh, yeah, but we didn't really understand fully what drifting was until later. And it's like, was there one where, like, people just were like, we're all gonna die anyway, so let's blow some stuff up, and they had these two Jaeger psychopaths go through. Because if this was like an anime or a TV show, they would be like going to the prison and being like, "We know you guys are drift compatible. We know you're the best people," and it's like, you gotta go in there and defend Earth, and it's just like that would be a whole storyline of like these two guys, and it's just like, oh, our collar is broken. Let's go destroy that big building. We could.
I do see, let's see, the themes listed on the Wikipedia. It says that it mentions that there's 10 primary characters, all with little arcs, and I'm like, 10 main characters is a lot. Yeah. I think, isn't the rule in literature like 7? Like 7 is usually the most that a person can like juggle for quote unquote main characters. But
I can't remember. Probably.
But I think this quote is funny. Del Toro stated, "I think it's a great message to have to give kids. That guy you were beating the shit out of 10 minutes ago, that's the same guy you have to work with 5 minutes later. That's life. We can only be complete when we work together." And like watching it now and looking at that scene, like I get it, but also I don't think it comes through that way, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. At least with the way that the dialogue comes out about it later. Like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like, it feels like they just beat each other up and then we're forced to work together, rather than beating each other up and going, I know we don't get along, but let's do this together anyway. Because I think the son usually just keeps going, I can't trust you, I don't trust you, I can't trust you throughout most of the movie, without really like the two of them having that conversation of getting over it for the sake of the mission.
And that's when Pentecost is like, shut up and get in the Jaeger, child, man, baby. And it's like, can I link with my dog? No. Oh man, that would have been something else. That would have
been really funny. He goes, okay, the ball I'm holding in my hand, dog, and the dog's like, bark. And he goes, okay, I'm throwing it, and the dog's like, what? And just starts sprinting on the treadmill.
I just found out that there's an anime version of this that's on Netflix called Pacific Rim: The Black.
Okay.
Which the plot is, it's in the same set in the same universe as the original film, which that line alone makes me wonder if the second film isn't. Anyway, a race of monster can kaiju, blah blah blah, Pacific Rim. Okay. Everything in there is the same. Okay, humans build gigantic armed robots, Jaegers to fight back, but fail in this takes place in Australia, and the continent is abandoned, leaving only isolated pockets of survivors. So, teenage siblings' names are left behind by their parents, who leave to combat the kaiju but never return. And then 5 years later, girl twin stumbles into a Jaeger training thing and finds a Jaeger, and her and her brother activate it and go off to go find their parents.
Okay.
And so it looks like this one has a lot more kaiju fighting, because it's like not only do they have to deal with marauding kaiju, but then other survivors are also attempting. This sounds like a much more interesting plot.
So what I'll also say, so you know how we're kind of saying like it feels like the movie itself plot-wise is rushed? Maybe the movie was rushed itself. Del Toro said had never shot a film in fewer than 115 days, but had only 103 to shoot Pacific Rim. Mm-hmm. That's a third less. Like that's a third of a year, less than third of a year to film a movie.
Yeah,
As
it could be, and because
it says filming began on November 14th, 2011, and continued in Toronto until April 2012. That's not a lot of time for a movie.
it is done by Warner Brothers, but Warner Brothers also did Pan's Labyrinth, or distribute it, was the distributor. I don't know. Yeah, it could have been.
What's the average time to shoot a movie?
I don't know. Average movie shooting time. Oh, that's not how you spell shoot. Come on, link, load. Oh, you load and blind me. Okay. The time it takes for a film, movie, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I want.
Yeah, I found a website, but it has too many words.
Yeah. Average movie filming. Did I just click on the same link? I don't know.
I see one that says development for movies is usually 2+ years, depending on the concept and genre. Mm-hmm. Pre-production is anywhere from 3 to 7 months. So that's like prep to get everything together between rewrites, shot lists, storyboarding. And then it says 1 to 4 months for principal photography. So principal photography is the phase in filmmaking during which the film is actually shot. So I guess, yeah, 100 days is within 1 to 4 months. Mm-hmm. And then post-production, 7 months to a year, depending on editing and effects. I don't know, it just seems like a really short time to put a movie together. But I guess if he had the concept sitting around for a while.
Yeah. I'm also like looking at this Pacific Rim, the black, and it looks like it's CGI, which I don't. Well, some of it's drawn. So the robots and kaiju's are definitely CGI, but it's interesting because it looks like they made a friend with a kaiju. I'm like, what? So I don't know. I'm like, it's if I ever get Netflix again, maybe if it's still on there. Maybe I'll watch it and report back, but it ain't going to be anytime soon because I don't actually own it. I don't have a link to Netflix. Our time is also up. So, is there anything else that you would like to mention about Pacific Rim?
There's one point that I was like, oh, the voice for Gypsy Danger, are they trying to make it sound like GLaDOS? Turns out it's the same voice actress.
Gypsy Danger talked?
Whenever they'd be like, engage boosters, and it goes, boosters, engage.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, like...
It didn't communicate with them. But
you shouldn't do that, Dave.
But there's, like, one scene in specific where they were, like, initiating jets or something towards the end of the movie. And I was like, is that GLaDOS? And I looked it up. It is the same voice actress.
I never played Portal, so I wouldn't catch it.
I didn't play it, but I played a lot of... There was, like, a poker game that had Portal characters, Borderland characters, and, like, Detective Max characters in it. And, that one show from Cartoon Network, like, Venture Bros, that has a character from that.
Johnny
and they were
Bravo?
all... Yeah. But they all are doing like poker night, and GLaDOS is like the I think the house, like the dealer for the poker night. So I heard a lot of her voice through that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like I sound like a hater this episode,
I feel
but
like
I
we both
just,
did in different ways.
yeah, like the characters, they could have been fine, but instead they came off to me as being kind of not like tropes, but like, what do you call it when it's like caricatures, where you're like, this is the main guy, this is his love interest, this is the side guy.
Yeah. I think it's hard to watch after watching Pan's Labyrinth, and like the depth of where it doesn't feel like that movie's not like, okay, here you go now. Like, it's like, no, you'll figure it out. Or you'll catch up, like with Pan's Labyrinth, where it's like it explains things, but at the same time it's like the movie's shorter than this, but I feel like it's just, it gives you time to breathe between the supernatural and the natural stuff going on. While this, it's all sci-fi, and I think it just is hurt by the fact that it has to create a world and sustain like a whole story in that world, where I feel like I wonder if they did, if they had, like, what if it was like split up into two parts, which once again they didn't do movies like that back then, or it wasn't as common now, where I feel like everything is like, it needs to be a trilogy or it needs to be start a universe. While it's like, what if we saw some other kaiju fights and all that stuff, and like we don't even see Gypsy Danger fight, but it ends where the other two kaiju are not kaiju, Jaegers are inert, like whether the pilots are gone or all that stuff. But I do agree with what Hop said in the beginning. They have all those people and they never thought of training more pilots. But that's at the same time. Same time, we don't understand how pilot training works. Like, all we see is like they have all these people that can do it.
Yeah, and they even talk about how she has a simulation that she does, and she's good at the simulation. But then Strider and I sat there and went, wait, if they have a simulation to see if she's even good at piloting, why don't they have a simulation for drifting together so that you don't accidentally have someone who's lost in the sauce trying to shoot a giant laser inside
because
the
that's
facility.
not as cool on screen to see digital laser instead of real laser.
I know, I sat there and went, these people are standing around for a long time while this is powering up. And then Strider was like, wow, their failsafes are not working. That's not very good of them to have
the EMP
no
did it. It was the EMP that came later, but it did. That's what did it. Stop it. Stop poking holes in my robot movie. Stop it.
I do like, I looked at the goofs on IMDb really quickly, and the top one is the time displayed on the war clock keeps changing between shots. And I'm glad I never really paid attention to it, because that would upset me.
I didn't notice it either, but I think that's funny.
Yeah. But cause I was just annoyed because I was like, they keep talking about the clock, and like, I felt like it wasn't on screen long enough for me to register how much time they had left. I don't know if I was like looking down at my cold slice of pizza and looking up and then like it was already past. But in any case, I still think it was a fun movie to watch. It's not like, it's not a bad movie. It's not
offensive.
Suits.
It's not
It's
children.
not Twizzler Suits.
It's not children being adults.
Speaking of children being adults, I said that the actress for young Mako is the best actress in the movie.
Yeah.
And Strider was like, hopefully they didn't actually traumatize that child. And I was like, oh, I hope she got plenty of hugs and candy after having to shoot those scenes.
She got to hang out with Idris Elba. That's payment enough. Where is she? Oh, yeah, there she is. We can click on her. I find it funny. Her IMDb picture looks like the same.
That was just like her main role.
Let's see. Yeah, that she's known for Pacific Rim. Oh, she's in something coming up called Scarlet, where she's the voice of that. I don't know what that is. I just clicked on it. It's an anime. There's a girl with pink hair and a sword. It looks like she did a lot of TV shows, though.
Okay, that's good.
I'm trying to see if there's anything I recognize. She's in the in a Pokemon movie. The Power of Us. I don't know which Pokemon this is. But, hold up. What was she? She was... I lost it. Largo. What the heck is a Largo? Or who is a Largo? Is a Largo a Pokemon? I can't see it, and I'm not clicking through here. But it looks like she's in a pretty decent amount of work. There's Pacific Rim. Oh, she did a bunch of stuff before that, too. In 2010, when did Pacific Rim? 13. So 2010 is when she's starting to have stuff. It looks like her first thing is in Mother. Or not first thing, but like her big role. Where she's in a show called Mother. An elementary school teacher, Suzuhara now decides to abduct maybe I don't know how to pronounce that. Rina, one of her female students, after discovering that she's being abused by her mother. Which, she's the person the teacher's stealing. Sounds like what should have happened in Erased. That's a different thing. That's interesting. It's on Prime. It's 11 actually, I don't know how many episodes it is. If I click here, will it tell me? Oh, it is 11 episodes.
I know. We're at the point of the podcast where we're like, what else can we watch these actors in?
Yeah. So there was that. The other thing I realized, like Mako's character, I'm gonna butcher her name. Rinko Kanuchi? I don't know. I feel like I'm not pronouncing her name right. I was like, I don't remember if I've ever seen her in anything else, and so... Which I think the neat thing for some of these characters, like... Oh, she's in Uprising. Oh, yeah. They're both in Uprising, aren't they?
Yeah.
But it looks like she did a lot more stuff, like in Japan, which I guess would make sense. Yeah, since she started in '97 with
Lots of acting.
TV movie called, I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's horror. And it looks like she's the only person with a picture in that IMDb list.
Ooh.
But yeah, there's. So, yeah, it's always interesting. I find it interesting clicking on some of these actors that like we don't see in America circles and be like, what'd you do before or after? And just seeing what they do. And that's where we will end this episode. So.
I know, now I'm scrolling through, because apparently she was in Westworld, and I can't remember if I watched it long enough to see if she was in Westworld.
Who?
I'd only watched a handful of episodes. Rinko.
Oh, yeah, right there. She's in 2 episodes, according to the thingy, and I watched none. But, yeah, so next week we are watching Crimson Peak, where we will leave the realm of science fiction and go, I feel like, more gothic horror, if I'm remembering correctly.
So, like you said, a bit closer to Pan's Labyrinth in sort
Yes.
of like theming and storytelling.
Mm-hmm. So if I remember correctly, and I'm not going to say a lot, because I don't want to paint the picture for Hop. I want her to go into it, whatever knowledge, without me saying much. But it's just like, I feel like this one goes to what I remember, goes a little bit back into the storytelling side of it.
Okay.
So, also, it got ghosts. That's
Scary.
right. Mm-hmm. I will also remember. There's something about this movie that I will share when we record the episode, because there was. Let's just say, I went into this movie expecting something from trailers, so don't watch any of the trailers.
Okay. Go in completely uninformed. Got it.
I feel like you do that with most movies, though.
I mean, like Pan's Labyrinth, I'd already watched. Pacific
Yes.
Rim, I remember seeing trailers, so I knew it was like mecha robots. A lot of the movies we've watched, I've either heard word of mouth or like seen trailers or have like cultural references. Like Kurosawa, I was like, I'm aware of all of what he's inspired, but I never watched
Next month,
his actual work.
Yeah, next month I just have to go off of, is this okay to watch according to this website? And I'm like, I think so. So, because I think
You said there's one that was particularly bad. You're like, oh, we don't.
Oh
we're not
yeah,
gonna put on
that
the
one
list.
that
Yeah.
one definitely, like I heard it, like, this is what people say is his best movie. It's a he, guys. We're watching a he. But yeah, and then I was like, well, no, we don't need that. We don't need that to be required watching for our podcast. If we want to explore that, we can do that on our own. But anyway, Crimson Peak next week, and ooh, that rhymed. And we'll see you next time. So if you guys enjoyed this, or have your own thoughts of Pacific Rim or anything in the Pacific Rim extended universe, let us know. But anyway, y'all have a good night and a better tomorrow, and whatever else I normally say at the end of this. Bye-bye.